And hello. I'm so disorganized. I'm sitting up here doing 19 things while the little intro is playing, supposed to get myself ready for the show. And I'm running running around the house, getting water and doing all that stuff. But anyway, welcome you guys to the show. Finally, this show was scheduled for last week. I had to move it, but that's okay because it gave me time to like flesh out my slide presentation, make it even better than it was before. And we should have a pretty interesting discussion about the state of women. Now, just in case you weren't here, this show is kind of a response or follow up to one we did a few weeks ago. This was the show thumbnail, in case you want to go back and listen to it. It basically discusses what 52 married black men think about why so many black women are single to the point where they consider it to be disproportionate to the number of black women in the population versus women as a whole. We are the largest group of unmarried women in the country. It's black women. So we did that show, and it was all interesting and everything, to hear what the brothers had to say. A lot of them were, on their second marriage, a couple on their third, and one was even on his fourth marriage. I'm like, dude, really? You shouldn't even participate because whatever you think, nobody cares to hear anyway. But, all that said, so then I went to the women and it's like, okay, ladies, what do you think? I mean, is marriage something that you even really want? I mean, so many women these days are opting not only to be single, they're choosing to be single, but they're also choosing not to have children. And so they're not trying to be a baby mama. They're not trying to adopt a kid. They're not trying to go to the bank and get a kid and be independent. They're not doing nothing. They don't want anything to do with anybody's children, including their own. And they're not trying to be nobody's wife either. So it became a very interesting thing that we're going to discuss. So here we are discussing it. I will be asking you to hop over. If you're not on the YouTube channel, please hop over there and take the survey, the poll for this show. Um, there was an original poll that closed once I changed the date. I guess they don't keep it open. So I had to set up a new one this morning. So if you didn't vote, even if you did vote in the other poll, please go over there and cast your vote now. I want to go over the results towards the end of the show. So navigate to youtube.com/Debsterism if you're coming in on some other portal and take the poll because that's the only place where you can take it. Okay, you gotta have a YouTube account too, I think. Yeah, this is gonna be interesting to see. I want to see what you guys, what your results are. I have the results from the original poll, but only 30 people, 35, something. Anyway, it's less than 50 people voted in that one. So I would like to, if everybody here, even if you don't stay, please go and vote on the poll and share your thoughts. So try to get at least, 75, 80 people to respond to that over the next hour and a half or so. Got you guys ready? She said, I love my life. I heard that, girlfriend. Let us get this in here and get started with this show. I'll be asking you guys uh, for your input in a little bit. So let's go over those. Let's go over these studies and some of the research that I found, searching around online for the last month or so. There's a lot of stuff out there. It was hard to weed through. I spent a lot of time, looking at stuff and saying, "Oh my God, this is kind of wild." Okay. Oh, I should have took that slide out. Sorry, I used the same template. Okay, so this is what the poll looks like. This is what the poll looks like that you will find over on YouTube. This is just a screenshot of the bare poll. Those are the questions that are being asked. So you go to youtube.com/Debsterism and you're going to pick one of those and cast your vote. Okay. Please take a moment to do that. So this is what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to try to cover all of these points. That's my goal anyway. We're going to talk about why single child-free women have more money. And is getting married really a bad deal for women? I mean, I'm sure there's pros and cons, right? And it's probably going to be different for every woman, but we're going to be making some generalities here. And the reasons why married women aren't as happy as single women. They're borne out by statistics. Why a bad marriage is worse for women than for men. Why is it more challenging to be a single man or is it more challenging to be a single woman? but why women are statistically happier when single than men are, which I thought was real interesting. You know how they try to flip that around and make it sound like we're going to be the old ones with cats and we're going to be all lonely and stuff? Oh, single women don't mind that. It's the men who hate being single. So they try to do that projection stuff. Then point five, women who are unmarried and child free are the happiest people of all, according to a professor of behavioral science. And then we'll close out the show with the with a discussion where you can have your input. You can either call or type it in and share your experiences being singled and coupled. Which one did you find to be better? What were the pros and cons? What if you were coupled up and then you decided to deuce out? Why? And then we'll talk about the poll results. Okay, so that's going to be that's the outline for what we're going to do today. So this is the guy, Paul Dolan. He was the behavioral psychologist, behavioral scientist rather, who came up with this theory, did a whole study, and he basically surmised that if you're a man, you should probably get married because for men, the outcomes of being married are their life, their health, their longevity, everything is a plus for them. Even if the marriages are not that great, it's still better for them than it is for women. But he says if you're a woman, don't bother. Now, I thought for a scientist to come to that conclusion, dude was on to something. And that's why I wanted to do this show. Okay, so let's move on and look at what he's got to say and some others too. So he summed things right up. He's a professor of behavioral science at the London School of Economics. And he says that while men benefit from being married, women just don't. We'll talk about why women don't in a little bit. He also reported that unmarried and childless women are more likely to outlive the married child rearing females. And they tend to be healthier than married women as well. Married women or women with children. So, you don't have to be married. You can be a baby mama. A single woman with no kids is going to have a better life than you do, more money than you do, better health than you do. The latest data demonstrates that long established traditional symbols of success did not necessarily correlate with happiness levels of women. So, success for men is, I have a wife, I have a family, I have this house with the picket fence and the 2.5 children and, the dog and this whole thing. Well, that's, those were typically signs of, you're working full time, having benefits and all that stuff. I mean, that stuff is nice, but that is not what really makes women happy, right? Those are old things that women used to say, well, at least I got a man and, I'm married now. Remember in Color Purple, Suge Avery? I was married now. It was a big deal in those days to be married, but not so much anymore, okay? Now, this is what we're talking about. This is an acronym for Strong Women Achievers with No Spouse. You guys are swans. Swans. The ugly duckling turned into a swan. Remember that story in your childhood? So y'all are swans. So always lift your head up. You're beautiful. You're strong. And you have something going on that you can think for yourself. You are not letting other people dictate what your life choices are and how you should live it, how you should feel. Nothing. You're making that choice yourself. So what things do really, okay, so women are not those things Dr. Dolan says, those symbols of success that we always apply to the population as a whole don't necessarily correlate to happiness in women. This is what he says. He's a behavioral scientist. We're going to roll with his work because I'm not doing all that. That's just too much work. I go and I use the research that other people do, and I might augment a little poll or something like that. But I'm not going to be doing no 5 or 10 year study. I'm not doing all that. So we're going to use what he did, what he found. So what makes women happy? What kind of things make women happy? And this applies whether they're single, married, young, old, it don't matter. These things, I think, are across the board. Self-actualization, what does that mean? That means that the person that you dream of being, the dreams that you have, the goals that you have for yourself, you get to actually make them happen. My heart was always broken because I always wanted to take my mother, from the time she was a child, wanted to go to Paris. And, my oldest brother had way more money. I'm like, why don't you take her? And so I thought I would find, get enough money to finally be able to do it. But one thing after another happened. And so it didn't happen. So she died without ever having made that dream come true. And that breaks my heart to this day. So self-actualization is something that makes women very happy. And it also, what I found, is it boosts their self-esteem because they set a goal for themselves and then they make it happen. And then whether you lose weight, whether you get a better job, you fix yourself up, learn how to do makeup or hair, whatever. Whatever your dream is, whatever your goals, when you make it happen, it boosts your confidence and it boosts your self-esteem. So what happens then? High self-esteem is another thing that makes women happy. When women have very low self-esteem and low levels of confidence, they tend to be miserable because they're doormats. Everybody walks all over them. People use them, disrespect them, and they never stand up for themselves. That's where self-protective boundaries come in. The ability to say no and to think that you deserve good treatment and that you're not going to accept less. And if someone treats you badly, poorly, you tell them where to go and just get out of their space, or you make them get out of yours. Those things also make women happy. You notice that in advice column, the women who don't do these things that you'll see on this list are miserable. They're unhappy. They're depressed. They're taking all kind of mood enhancing, prescription things, Adderall. I mean, what you call it? What's that stuff? I can't think right now. Prozac and all that kind of stuff to get rid of the depression signs that they have because they're just not a happy. They're not happy. Something's going on in their world that's making them unhappy. Freedom of thought and action makes women happy. When you feel controlled, when you've got a man barking down your throat that you need to submit to him and tell you what to do and want to, curtail your activities and tell you how to dress and where you can go and all this kind of stuff, bossing you around, taking your money. You can't do what you want to do and think what you want to think because he tells you that you're making him look bad and it's disrespectful to him and, we're a team, all this stuff. You can't have an independent thought. You can't do what you want to do because of him. That makes women miserable, whereas being free of thought and action makes them happy. Emotional security. If you should decide to be in a relationship, and this could also apply to your parents and siblings, any kind of relationship, you feel secure with the amount of the emotion that you invest in this person that they're not going to turn around and use it against you and hurt you. They're going to, it's reciprocal. So that provides you a certain level of security, and you don't, you get good friendships, good sibling relationships, good parental relationships, good romantic relationships, good coworker relationships. In every one of those, you have to feel emotionally safe and secure. Solid friendships. Your man can't be your everything, even if you have one. He can't be your everything. That's a mistake a lot of women make. And they dump on the dudes, and they can't handle it. They don't want to hear all that. You have to have female friends to bond with, sleep over with, go and they drink wine with, commiserate with, talk about your men with. You've got to have that. Financial stability makes women happy, whether they provide it for themselves or inherited, got a trust fund, whatever. The fact that your bills is going to be paid. If you need to get your car repaired, you can make it happen. You don't have to worry about a roof over your head. These are the kind of things that make you feel okay. You want to go on a vacation, you might have to save up a little bit or, move some stuff around, sell some stocks, whatever. But you have the means to make that happen. You ain't living paycheck to paycheck or hand to mouth. You're not borrowing money everywhere you go. Good love life, solid, stable love life will make you happy. If you got a dude that can bring it, that would inevitably put a fine smile on your face. Soul off, yes, or that's another one. A positive mental and emotional state. You can achieve that when you have the things above the list. You, a person who's happy sees the glass as half full versus half empty. When there's something happening, they feel confident because they have high self-esteem that they can affect change, that they can make it better, that they can fix it, whatever it is, they can make it better. So, and people who are happy are accepting of themselves and others. The people who are miserable are the ones you see they do this. Okay, you in a crowd of people, right? And people are, they look cute. They look cute, but here they go. Well, what's she looking at? What's she looking at? Be staring at me instead of thinking, yes, I'm so fabulous. Of course you're looking at me because I'm all of that. You accept other people, the differences in people. Um, You're not ragging on people all the time because they're different. They choose different clothes, different hair, different style, different music. You don't have to pick them apart because they're not like you. It's okay that they're not like you. It's okay. And you accept them for that. And you might even embrace them for that because it brings something different to your world to help to balance it out. Happy women tend to do that. Miserable women want everything to be the same. And they're not experimental. They don't want to try nothing new. They don't want to go anywhere new. They don't want to do anything different. They want to stay in a rut because they're comfortable in their rut like a pig in mud. And the last one I could think of is, things that they do that they find rewarding. Now, this might be volunteer work. This might be a hobby, an art, sewing, painting, some kind of, candle making, jewelry making, even cooking. I mean, that's rewarding for me, come up with new recipes. So whatever you have that brings your heart joy, you engage in it and it's rewarding to you. All of these things together will make a woman happy. You look for a relationship to make you happy, you gambling. You're gambling. Okay, so this is kind of a repeat slide from a previous show. But the PEW Research Center, my go-to since I did my first Black Church article in 2010. I go there a lot and find out information. But basically, this is talking about their latest single study where they said that many of the adults in the United States, excuse me, are very happy being single and being on their own. Um, they have other priorities. Sometimes something like kids, finishing school, an advanced degree or something, raising a family if they have children, taking care of aging parents, traveling. I mean, there's some other priority in their life that's more important than a relationship right now. So they're not really looking, to date. I mean, if it happens, it happens, but they're not looking for it. They're not on the swipey things. They're not on the dating sites. They're not on Facebook dating. They're not doing nothing like that. They just living their lives. Okay, then there's those who are looking to date. And this is about, they say about half of those are open to either being in a relationship or just casual dates. I mean, they just want to spend some time with somebody and get to know some people. And it says that in particular, people that are less than 40 are less likely than older people to be looking only for casual dates. Because, once you've been around the block a time or two, you don't care. You ain't trying to go back there. But young people who have never been married and, living together and having kids and all that stuff, who is new and exciting to them, they're looking for a partner to do that, all that stuff with. Once you've done all that and you escape to marriage, you like, I'm good. So then this was really what was really interesting is being single, the difference between being single, the way it is perceived between men and women, right? Singlehood for women is viewed as desirable. And you see a lot of men online crowing about it and everything. But what they try to do is flip it around to try to make women feel bad about being single. They view it as you can't get anybody, and that's where you're single. Whereas women are like, no, we can get anybody that we want to get if we want to get them. We don't want to because we got other stuff we're trying to do besides being cooking and cleaning and looking at some man. We're not trying to go. We ain't about that life. So it's a really interesting dynamic when you look at the way statistics, the scientists are looking at this. Marriage and relationships benefits men. They cry about having to pay for dates and stuff, but that's what you have to do if you want a relationship because women are not really trying to trip with you too hard. So the guys don't understand, just like that show, the show we did with about Matos's article, you have to come with something that's going to make her want to give up all the benefits that she's enjoying of being single and having all her money and stuff to be with you. What you offering? I mean, you got to come with something, brother. It's just not going to work when you just coming in there talking. Like even like Tom Brady, which what's her name? Giselle Bundchen, or however you pronounce her name. She going to leave his behind because he don't act right. So you know what I mean? It's like it doesn't matter like how much money you have and how famous you are and what you look like and all those kind of things. Your woman is not in a relationship for those things. She's in a relationship for how you treat her. And if you don't treat her well, then she has no reason to stay in a relationship with you. And just as a single woman, if you keep meeting dudes that don't know how to act, there's no reason to ever get in a relationship with any of them. So you're just going to stay single. So he says that the study, the Mentel, it's a data analysis company service, says that women are more satisfied with being single than men are, and far less likely to look for a relationship, which is borne out by the PEW research study as well. So a large part of this has to do with women that have to work too hard in a relationship. They have to work too hard. Even during the dating process, you have to do a lot. They want you to have your underwear has to be matching. Your nails got to get did. That's $40, $50. You got to do your feet. That's another $20, $30. You got to get your hair done, depending on what kind of style you get. That could be hundreds of dollars, plus all the hours that you spend. And then you got to get a new outfit. And if you have a kid or two, you got to get a babysitter. So you out, $500, $600 before you even go on the first date. But they want to complain because she's just trying to get a free meal off of me. She just invested $400 or $500 and you can't spring for a $40 dinner. You complaining? Okay. So when you look at even okay, that's before you even get in a relationship. All right, you just try to put a good foot forward. Then you get in a relationship. Okay, so then the expectations change. Suddenly you responsible for his never reaching satisfaction. Even when you don't feel like it, a lot of women feel obligated to because that's their man and they want to keep him happy. Then you want to play the traditional role. You want to cook for him and you want to make sure the house is clean and everything's fresh, smelling all good when he comes home. And some of you even go to his house and help clean up his house and stuff like that. When he's a grown man, he should be cleaning his own spot. Or hiring somebody, Mary maids or somebody to do it. That's not your job. And then you got to plan the meals, right? So you got to shop and cook, clean the pots. Then you got to clean up after, and then you do all the emotional labor of arranging birthday parties and buying gifts for his family for Christmas, and making sure he goes to the doctor and listen to his problems. It's a lot. It's a lot, especially if you're a woman, you trying to go to school or advance your career and stuff. You got to divide your energies and your time between dealing with him and his BS and what you're trying to do for yourself. And a lot of women are like, no, I don't want to. The pay, you do that risk benefit analysis, cost benefit analysis. The cost is too high for the alleged benefits that you receive. And then the guys are up there complaining because they don't want to give you any benefits at all. So then there's really no advantage to being in a relationship with them. And these women that write in the advice column going through all these changes, they taking care of these dudes, paying his bills, letting them sleep up in the house. He's depressed. He's all this stuff. Oh no, boot him out on his behind. His depressed behind needs to be out there picking up cans or something so he don't make the magic happen. That's what manhood is. You don't get to sit on your butt. So then they also said that women, men dump on their women. The woman is their sole source of emotional comfort and support, whereas women tend to have a whole bunch of friends. And even guys, even if they have friends, very often they don't tell them stuff. Like I knew this guy, he was telling me how he found it. He was at work, we worked together, and he came in looking all kind of crisscrossed, and I was like, well, what's the matter with you? Why your face looking like that? And he said he had a friend that he's had since they were in high school, and all the dudes had met up over the weekend and stuff. And this guy finally told them that he was going through a divorce. He never told them about his marital problems. He never told them that his wife left him. He never told them he was bearing all of that alone. And so he never looked for his friends for emotional support during a crisis in his life. He was trying to deal with it on his own. Whereas a woman, the first thing we have, girl, let me tell you what happened. Oh my God. And we have someone who's going to support us. And we reach out and we vent and we support each other, cry on each other. Girl, come over. Listen, I got a couple of bottles of wine here. Let's do this. Stop and get us some pizza or something. Let's hang out and talk about it. That's what we get. Men don't provide that to each other, or they don't seek that out. They look for their woman to give them that, which is even more of a burden on her in a relationship. So bottom line, you got to think about it. Is it bad for women to be married? Yeah, I don't tell lies on this channel. Now, sometimes I'm going to say something people might not agree with me, but that don't mean I'm lying. That just means you don't like what I'm saying. But there's never been a lie told on this entire channel. I don't. I'm going to give it to you straight. A lot of times I'm going to tell you what I've heard, what I've observed, and sometimes I even share, my own personal perspective, which I will do when we get to the part where we talk about having kids. So, is marriage bad for children? Is it bad for women to be married? Well, you think about there are a lot of cons, but there's a couple of pros too, and it's just not that simple. It's gonna be kind of a case by case analysis. It's gonna depend a lot on the man. But in general, society doesn't train people. I mean, we get more training as women for how to be in a relationship than men ever get. You got to remember, like if the dude is growing up with no daddy, who's telling him how to be a man? Who's telling him how to be a man in a relationship? Who's teaching him how to love a woman and respect her and treat her nicely? Who's doing that? They're learning from each other idiots that don't have a daddy to guide them, and they're watching rap videos and they're being all impressed by what they see on TV and movies, and they think that because they should see some fantasy version of a man getting a woman that looks the way that they want to have a woman to look, they think that that's reality, and they go and do that thing, not realizing those people are being paid to put on a performance that's not real. You don't model your real life after what you see on TV, in a video, or watch in a movie. You don't do that, you idiots. But that's what they do. And so, when you have guys that think that their whole so focus on the relationship is that she needs to submit and she's supposed to be taking care of me, and I'm the leader, I'm the boss. So they don't see marriage as a partnership. They see themselves as some kind of dictator and you under them. So you're sitting there feeling controlled and limited, and basically you feel like a kid, and they don't want to hear what you have to say. Your opinions are not valued. Your insight is discounted and dismissed. Your needs are dismissed or glossed over, or just basically, oh, I don't want to hear all that. And they do that, and the women will stay in a relationship for a while and then find she'll get sick of it. And it doesn't matter how well you felt at the beginning, like you felt like you got chosen and you walking around flashing your ring to everybody because you got engaged and some man picked you. That loses its shine real quick. So bottom line is, marriage does not make you happy. You got to be a happy person first. Two happy people together can pretty much create a happy marriage. And what the bottom line is, if you have a happy marriage, well, that will make you happy. A marital satisfaction report is a much stronger predictor of happiness than just, quote, being married. Right? Think about it. How many marriages end in divorce? Okay, that's just being married. So people running around talking about, well, my husband. That don't mean they got a happy marriage. So you look at it. You look at all the research by human development, psychological research, neuroscientific research, medical research, and they all pretty much have one conclusion: that being in a long-term committed relationship that offers reliable support, opportunities to be supportive and supported, and the social context, which is marriage, for being and having a shared experience over time, decades, lifetime, whatever you opt for, is absolutely good for your well-being. Having a partner to go through life with that's got your back and that's there 100% is the happiest. Those are people are really happy, but that's not really what happens. Unless that's not what happens. Not real common. So that's why I had to ask the question. But is that? I mean, that's great. I mean, shoot, who wouldn't want that? But is that what women actually get in marriage? Especially if children are involved, is that really what's coming down the pike for you? So let's talk about motherhood. Motherhood. Is it a yay or is it a nay? A yay or a nay? You know what? Um, let me. I want to show you guys something. Let me see how I could. Hold on a second. Let me try to do this. I want to share a screen, and I want to. Oops. Hold on a second. I guess I got to put it on the browser first because I want you guys to see something. Okay, I don't know if the sound came through. If you guys hear the sound, I can't tune in on the last bit of it, so I don't know if the sound played or not. But the bottom line is here is the URL for it in case you want to see it. That is just the saddest thing. Very sad how her children, I mean, how she feels. She's so young, and already, feeling the burden of being somebody's mother by herself. She's too young, and so many of these young, their parents and the women around them are not being honest with them about how their life is going to change, what is going to be the impact. So that's why I did put this thing. There's also, like, if you're a mature woman, you got your money together, and your life is great, and you want to be somebody's mama. Some women feel these things here that they have to be a mother. It's been socialized into them to be a mother, that some of them want to have somebody to love, and so that's not really a good reason to have a baby, but that's one of the reasons people give. And they feel like in order to be fulfilled as a woman, your womanly duty, your God-given responsibility is to have kids, right? And on the other side of that, even if you say you don't want to have children, you're not on that other side where you're going to do it because people pressured you to do it. You flatly say no. But this is what you get. You get chastised, demeaned, degraded. Well, you're just selfish. You blocking your blessings. Children are a blessing from God. And then they say, well, you shouldn't do it like that because you're not going to have nobody to take care of you when you get old. Or, for young girls who made that decision, they decide they want to get their tubes tied, or you'll change your mind, so we're not going to do that because you're going to change your mind. So you, a complete stranger, know more about what I want to do with my life than I do. You see how these doctors, these men, they just, it's so frustrating. But these are the kind of things that happen when you're a woman and you don't want to have kids. This is you get ribbed, you get ridiculed, you get attacked because of it. It's like they want every woman to breed, no matter what her goals are for herself. So why do women prefer to be single and child free? Make sure you guys go on that poll on YouTube. I'm gonna keep reminding as people come in, go over to YouTube, the Debsterism channel. If you came in through Twitch or something else, log on to YouTube and um, make sure that you participate in the poll that's for this show. I'm going to be getting the results and put them up here in a minute. Well, not a minute, but towards the end of the show. But I need you guys to vote, okay? Real quick, you're just going to pick one. Pick one of the options. Okay, so why do women prefer to be single and to not have nobody's baby? Sometimes it's because they have past experiences with relationships and marriages, and they understand. They're like, I don't want to do this again. I don't want to do this again. And this, I think, is going to be a lot of you. It's like, well, I tried being married and I didn't like it. I thought that's what I wanted. I chased that ring, I chased that husband thing, and then I got it. I was like, oh, let me get up out of here. This is not what I thought it was. This is not what people promoted it to be. This is too much damn work. And they'd be like, boop, deuced out. So, you just have so many bad relationships, you just give up because, like, okay, obviously, either I'm not good at this or the dating pool is full of poo poo. Either way, I'm not going to do this no more. And so they just stop and do other things. Sometimes as a child, you were parentified, given, like, you had a parent, you was the oldest, one of the oldest, and then your parent kept having kids, and then they didn't want to be bothered with them, they dumped them on you. So here you are, a teenager trying to live your life, 13, 14, 15 years old. You can't do it because you got younger siblings. You got to run to school and help with their homework and make them dinner and help them with lunch and help them get dressed. And you're basically filling in a parent role that your parents should be doing. They don't want to lay it up there making all those babies, but they dump it on you. And when you get to be the age where you could have your own family and stuff, you don't want to because you burnt out on it. You just don't want to do that anymore. Sometimes, people have been telling you about it, and even as a young child, you realize, oh no, this is not the life for me. I ain't about that life. I'm not trying to do all that. I don't want to be bothered. I think I know a lot of fire sign women, a lot of Leos especially, like not about that life. I'm so really surprised I had a kid. Cause okay, so most of them, a lot of women are turned off by modern men, and so you know, like I said, the dating pool is full of poo poo. They're not trying to be bothered. Others realize that kids are a pain in the butt. You see other kids, little bad kids out in the store and stuff, kicking their parents and falling out. And even when their kids get big teenagers and adults, they're even a worse pain in the butt. Doing all kind of criminal activities. You got to put them in recovery homes and treatment facilities, and you spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on them, and it's just, and don't have one that special needs or needs some medical severe severely disabled, then you're gonna really have some drama. Husbands are also a pain in the butt. I call them tall children because they just are demanding and needy, just like a little toddler. So here you are with a 2-year old and a 40-year old, and they act the same. Wives and mothers get the short end of the stick. They get overburdened with responsibility and obligation. It's not the picnic that a lot of women think that it is. And then, when you finally get down to it, this is what I always tell women. I never say that you should not get married. I never say that. What I always tell you is know what the hell you doing. Sit down and do your cost benefit analysis for the benefits that you perceive that you're going to get. What's it going to cost you? Don't just let people fill your head full of smoke and mirrors. Sit down and think about your life, your goals, your needs, your wants, your abilities, and what you want to do before they throw dirt on your face. What is it that you want to accomplish in your life? You don't let people make that decision for you. Then you sit down and you think about, okay, if I get with this man or whoever, how's my life gonna change? How is all of that stuff I want to do gonna be impacted? And sometimes you realize when you get to putting pencil to paper and really thinking hard and put them rose-colored romantic glasses aside, that the math ain't mathing. Okay, you gonna come up short when you align yourself with this dude. I wish more women would do that before they accept the rings or before they walk down the aisle. Definitely before you start popping out babies. Think hard. Stop being so damn emotional. Think logically about this man and what he's gonna do and how he's gonna impact your life. If it's not a come up for you and he's not gonna help you make all them dreams that we talked about before come true, then you don't need him. Okay, you don't need him. I don't care how much you talk about, but I love him though. I love you. You better love yourself. Okay, now here's a reality check. Okay, now notice this is a national average because when you're in highly densely populated areas like New York and over here on the West Coast, the cost is high, probably higher than this. So I mean, because that's how you get the average. Our cost is way higher, and in other areas of the country it's lower. So you put all that into the pool, and then you come up with an average. And this is the national average now has reached $310,000. $310,000 over the lifetime, I mean, over an 18-year period to raise your child. This is almost at a 4-decade high, and it's gone up 9% in 2 years. These are very recent numbers. These numbers just came out. Now, what does this include? It covers housing, of course, which, like I said, if you don't know, these big coasts is way higher out here than, like, say, in middle America. Food, clothing, health care, child care, which is exorbitant, unless you want some kind of subsidy. You got to have, um, parties and, different things like that. You're having events like proms and, graduations. I mean, they call those childhood milestones. Then, when they're tiny, they just stay in your pocket. You buying them clothes, you buying them school supplies. They growing like a weed. You got to buy them new clothes and shoes all the time. For little boys, you're gonna get them a haircut. Well, girls too, they get a little trim or whatever. But a lot of times people can do that. You got to have these extracurricular activities. You want your kid to have a chance to go to college. You want stuff on their books when they're in high school or middle school, whatever, so they can have try to get a scholarship to go to college and pay for part of it or something. They need art supplies for that, sport equipment, whatever. And then this cost in estimate includes one lesson, like one piano lesson one dance lesson, whatever, male, female, whatever their interests are, one. Okay, this doesn't include like tutors that you might need, special other courses that your kid need to catch up, you know, SAT preps, that kind of stuff. That's not included in this. Because not everybody want to go to college. So, and then the final line is because the cost is so high in an economy that we're having right now, more than half of the families in the country receive some sort of subsidy. Now, that could include medical care, it could include daycare, it could be Section 8, it could be food stamps, it could be all of the above. It could be, I don't know, SSI because the kid's disabled. I mean, whatever it is, more than half the families in this country receive some sort, no matter how small, of government subsidy just to survive. Is that what you're trying to do? Is that what you're doing? Because you want to be somebody mama? Okay, now we get into the what's those are the financial costs, right? The financial. What about the non-tangible costs of being somebody's mama and wife? I came up with this list. I'm sure you could come up with some more. Uh, you got to give up your time, right? Your time is not your own. Even while you're pregnant, you can't do nothing. The baby just controls everything. What you eat, when you sleep. Women be having all kind of pains and constipations and all kind of stuff be happening. Okay, your body. Pregnancy, that ain't no joke. Let's hope you make it out alive, okay? Because that's a real. Oh, that's over the other column. Your life, the maternal mortality rate in the United States is like a third world country, especially for Black women. It's really bad in the state of New York for some reason. If I was in New York, and when I was pregnant, I would leave and go and have my baby somewhere else and then come back. That's what I would do. I would not be having no baby in the hospital in New York State, nowhere. When you're pregnant or when you're having a mom or you're a mom and stuff, your grooming is impacted. How many women complain they can't even go to the bathroom by themselves because here comes some kids wanting something, beating on the door and stuff like that. You forego showers, you don't wash your hair as often, you definitely don't put on makeup and stuff because you racing around with kids. Your identity changes. You were like the hot mama, always like fashionable and stylish and all this stuff. Well, suddenly now you just a mom. That's your title. You so and so's mom. People forget your name. They call you so and so's mom or Mrs. So and so. Well, I have a name, excuse me, but they don't. Your identity gets sucked into this role of marriage and motherhood. It's real twisted. You lose your physical freedom. You can't pick up and go where you want to go when you want to go. Like them little, you get up and you do the wild thing and then you jump up and say, oh, yeah, let's go, let's hit Denny's or something, some late night spot and let's have some breakfast. Let's have a burger. Let's do something 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. Can't do it. Can't do it because little Johnny's in the crib sleeping and you don't want to wake little Johnny up because little Johnny will have a scream fest and you ain't trying to be about that life. So you just sit there in hunger or go in the kitchen and make you some top ramen and just call it a day. Your peace of mind is gone. You forever, once you have to become somebody's mama, you forever worrying about that kid. Even if they're adults, you still think about them and wonder what they're doing and if they're okay. You never get to escape the hat of being somebody's mother. It never leaves you. You always worried about them. Always. You lose control. You know who controls the house? The baby. That little baby like this, that little baby that baby runs the whole house with an iron fist. I used to make jokes about it, how baby's like, it's too quiet up in here. Wah, 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 wah. And you get to see adults in the house jump up and start running around in circles like, oh my God, this kid's about to scream. What are we gonna do? What's wrong with it? Does it need a diaper? Does it need food? What's happening? And so you get to see, the baby just sitting there going, yeah, so they having a little bit too much fun. I'm not feeling this at all. I'm not feeling this peace in the Middle East. I want to cause some shit here. Wah, wah. That's how I used to feel. My daughters just sit there and look at her just screaming. It's true. Those of you who have younger siblings or have kids, it's true. You don't run shit when you have a baby. The baby rules the house like a dictator. Everything that you do, you ain't don't even make no noise because the baby's sleeping and you don't want to wake that little clown up. So you just baby, shh, shh, you can't turn that TV down. Be quiet. I can't talk to you, girl, now because the baby's sleeping. I don't want to wake you. Your whole life changes, and the baby is in control, not you. Your autonomy, your ability to make decisions about what you want to eat. Even you nursing, you pregnant, you can't drink. You can't eat stuff with onions and stuff because it's gonna give you and the baby a problem. You try to eat like that and then you nursing your kid is gonna have the stomach ache of life, and you're gonna be up for 2 weeks trying to get that kid calmed down. So you all of that independent stuff. And people try to go to restaurants and stuff. They have to pick one where they have a stuff that the kid can eat. I mean, your whole life changes. Your whole life. You can't go nowhere unless you have a babysitter. Somebody, and it got to be somebody you trust. So you got to vet them and make sure they're not some kind of weird or freak. I mean, it's just your whole life changes. Everything changes. You can forget having a love life, at least at first. I mean, for medical reasons, but then even after that, it just seemed like they just sense when you're about to have a good time. And that's when they be like, wah, wah. And there you go. Got to get up, take care of it. So romance is hard too. I mean, for me, it was really hard because I'll tell you this, and I know my poodle, he didn't really understand, but okay, you had this baby, right? I had already carried the baby for 9 months, so I had lost control of my body for 9 months. That was a revelation for me. So then the baby comes out as you nursing the baby. Okay, so you got to pick the baby up and hold it to feed it. Then you got to burp it, then you change it. So you're constantly handling this infant. Now that's what they need to thrive and survive and all that stuff. I understand that. But what about me? I was so touched out. I was touched out. I didn't want, don't even stand too close to me. I don't want you, don't touch me. Just stay away from me. I just want to be all the air by myself and stand over here alone. Just leave, don't say nothing to me. Just pretend like I'm not here. I actually had that conversation with him, and it was like he was just sitting there looking at me like, what the fuck is going on here? But I'm telling you, I was touched out. I was just, don't touch me. I just couldn't stand it. So there was no romance at all. Because you got to hold hands and touch and rub and pat and all this old stuff here. No, just get away from me. Don't touch me. Don't even look at me. Just forget I'm invisible. I just can't stand it. It was awful. Your health changes if you have some health issues. A lot of women develop, physical problems after pregnancy and delivery. They have to have some kind of surgeries. Some of them end up, they have to have parts removed. They can't ever have any more children. I mean, childbirth is a serious matter. Just think about before they had cesareans in hospitals and ICUs and stuff, how many women died in childbirth. It still happens to this day with all these fancy stuff we have. Women still die in childbirth, especially in New York. That's what I'm saying. It's not the place to be if you're a black woman and you want to have a baby. Don't do it. You can look online and look at the statistics. I'm not lying. Your money is gone. Never was I so broke as when my daughter was little and I had to pay that infant daycare, child, and buy them diapers. Ooh, you talking about broke? Oh my God! And I always made decent money too. He made decent money, but it didn't matter. By the time we paid the mortgage and the car notes and the car insurance and stuff, right? Then we was used to having a certain amount of money. Oh no, that money went to daycare. That money went to Pampers. That's where that money went. And medical co-payments for all them doctor visits that babies have to have and shots and whatnot. Always getting some kind of sniffle or something, some rash or something. And some shit that always had you missing work, so your check is short, and then you got, to take them to the doctor. Oh, it was a nightmare. I'm so glad she's out past this stage. Okay, so you can't have a social life is impacted too. Let me tell you about that. Um, oh yeah, I saw that too, Toffee Tastic. I responded on her thread. We was laughing. Um, your social life, because you have friends that don't have kids, and you got to bring your baby with you when you go, right? They don't want to be bothered with all that. Your kids screaming and you busy fussing with it and feeding it and changing all this old stuff here. They can't really connect with you because your half your attention is dealing with this baby. So your friends will start to fall off that don't have kids because it's just inconvenient. They don't want to be bothered with you and your snot nosed kid and the poopy diapers and the whole thing. It's like, no, I'm not about that life. And so they leave you alone. You guys, your relationship switches to a phone conversation. As soon as your kids start screaming in the background, they hang up and they're not trying to be bothered with you. And then, of course, the final thing that you lose is sleep. I remember my first Mother's Day because she was born in April, right? So she was what, about 6 weeks old when Mother's Day came. And Hunty, I have a picture of us, and I'm thinking I'm looking cute. I had my little makeup on, my hair, got my hair did and everything, and I'm holding her. And she grinning in the picture, just looking just ultra cute. But I looked like I had been slapped with a train. I had bags, and I seriously thought I looked cute. I don't know what I was seeing. It must have been the delirium of being, lacking sleep. But I looked a hot mess. I had lipstick on and everything, but I still looked like around the eyes and stuff. I looked crazy. So I look at that picture every now and then. This is storage now. I was looking for it. I couldn't find the photo album because I want to show you guys. She's so cute in the picture, but I look a wreck. Okay, now let's talk about marriage and kids. Okay, let's talk. Wait, I have some marriage statistics here about marriage. Let me find that. If I was better organized, it would be really good. This it? Yes. Okay. So, yeah, we have to accept that this marriage is not for everybody. These doctors need to get on board. If a woman decides she doesn't want to have any children ever, and she goes in to get herself sterilized, they should do it. Okay. Maybe have a 3-day waiting period and some counseling. But if she's in command of her own body, she should be able to decide that if that's what she wants to do. And you should not be trying to argue with her about her choices for her body. But that's not what they do. So anyway, basically, look at how the age has changed. In 1980, the average age for having children, being married and having a kid, was 22. A lot of girls, they got married right out of college, or they got married right out of high school, and they would have their baby, first baby. That's the average age, 22. Now that number has increased to 26. And for the higher educated women that went on to get advanced education, advanced degrees, and they therefore make a higher income, they have more responsibility at work, and they have, it's a heavier load on their shoulders. The average age for those women is 30 to get married. So from 22 to 30, from 1980 to now. And this is average. So, some younger, some older, but the average age has increased that much. I'm like, wow. Children are prohibitively expensive. So a lot of people, even if they get married, they don't want to have any kids because they feel like they can't afford it. Women accept that marriage and motherhood means that they are burdened with the responsibility of some other people's lives. You're assuming responsibility for other people's existence. Is that what you want to do? You better accept that that's the role that you're going to be playing. I don't know, a lot of women, I think they think about, oh, the baby part is so cute. I'm going to buy these little shoes and this, and they don't think about all that goes into that. You're going to be tired, sister girl, exhausted. And if you don't have no money, you got some little Mickey Mouse ass job, you don't have any business having a kid. I'm sorry, but you just don't. You and the kid are going to suffer. So, and what makes women not really happy in their marriage, want to just not be bothered. The men, how they avoid conflict. Like women want to talk about the problem, right? Men shut down. Men walk off. Or men stone. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't want to talk about that. Let's not talk about that right now. They basically stonewall. They basically put up this big wall, and you can't get past it. You can't have a conversation and resolve a problem by yourself. You need him to participate. And if they don't do it, they just turn around and walk off and leave you, slam the door and go drive off or whatever, disappear into a bottle, disappear into a pipe. I mean, whatever they're going to do, they're not there. They're not present. They're not in a relationship, and they're not giving you the relationship that you need. And for some women, they internalize all of that, right? That's frustration, resentment, and anger. And it leads to stress, which leads to a whole bunch of other, kinds of chronic diseases. Basically, ultimately, a bad marriage can make a woman's health bad. A bad marriage can send you on the slippery slope towards heart attacks, strokes, and a whole bunch of heart disease, diabetes, all kind of other stuff, these chronic diseases. You're overeating and you're eating poorly because you're stressed out. And that's because of your man and your raggedy kids. So, this is what I was talking about. Look at this. These are statistics. These are the firm statistics. I just knew it was a lot. But Black women are 3 to 4 times more likely to die from a pregnancy-related complication than white women. And like I said, in the state of New York, it's probably double that. It's shocking how high Black women's and infant mortality rate is in the state of New York. It's just like it's just criminal. Black women are also 3 to 4 times more likely to suffer from a severe disability resulting from childbirth than white women. So, since the majority of our audience here is Black, I'm not saying all of them, but the majority, sisters, please think about this. Think about why you want to have children, especially by someone that you are not married to. Why would you put your wallet, your health, your future, and your dreams, not to mention your mental and emotional health at risk behind a dust bucket's baby? Why would you do that to yourself? And I know so many of you are religious and you'd be like, oh my God, I can't carry my baby. And then you have all these romantic visions of it and stuff until you sitting there holding it like that little girl in the video I played earlier and trying to figure out what happened and why your life is ruined. You better think. God said, think. Stop being so emotional. Use your brain. That's why you got it. Now, the divorce rate in the United States is between 50 and 80%, filed primarily by women. That's the manosphere dudes always complain about. Women always filing for divorce. Yeah, why do women file for divorce? Why do you file for divorce? Because men don't do what they're supposed to be doing. Now, these are some other interesting statistics about divorce, which would make a woman not really be that interested in getting married, right? The average number of years the first marriage lasts for Americans only, we're not talking about any other country, 8. So right after the 7-year itch, people start falling, shit start falling apart. The percentage of men who married twice up till 2004, which is when this, I guess, the statistic was counted, is 12%. American women who married twice till 2004, 13%. And what did I see? The percentage of Americans who have married 3 or more times, just 3%. I'm like, okay, you know what you're doing. You don't know what you're doing. You need to just stop now. Just stop. Now, what's happened is the breakup rate for second marriages, because sometimes you're talking about a blended family. People have baggage. They got baby daddy drama or ex-husband drama. I mean, other things impact the marriage besides just a couple. And sometimes, the blended family things don't work, especially you got two parents who have completely different ideas about child rearing. And funny stuff be going on with these stepfathers too. So, stuff be happening, stuff that you have to think about. So the percentage of second marriages will end after a duration of 3 years, 15%. The percentage of second marriages which end after a duration of 5 years, close to 25%. The chances of remarriage of African American women ending is greater than the chance of a Hispanic American woman ending. Bottom line is, for Black women, I don't know. Marriage, unless you do an interracial marriage, the odds aren't that great. The odds aren't that great for it's going to succeed. So when we look at marriage, okay, so what's this happily ever after everybody goes and, grinning and picking out their fancy wedding dress and all this old stuff here? It's really, you have the vision, but it's a joke, but it's not funny. Ain't nobody laughing because going through a divorce and, even just a breakup if you're single is horrific. But just imagine you've been married for somebody 7, 8, 10 years, then it's even worse. So, but what I want women to think about is this. Think about some of these aspects of marriage that are not taught to you. They are not told you by people pushing you towards getting married. You have to think about the pros and the cons, okay? Because it's both sides to a coin. You can't just look at the pretty wedding dress and the big party. You have to look at what's the marriage going to look like day to day and the partner that you have chosen to be married to. Just because he pops out with a ring and asks you to marry him, you don't have to say yes. You better think. Tell him to give you some time to think about it before you make a decision. And then you think about the stuff like here. It's already set up to be an unequal institution. So many women, if their man does something in the house, but they say, well, he's helping. No, he's not helping. He's a grown man. He lives there. He's supposed to be doing something in the house. He lives there just like you do. So how do you consider it him helping you? See, that mentality that goes with that language is is the sign that you're assuming too much responsibility. And what do women give up when they get married and start assuming all this responsibility for other people? Well, when we consider the time that they give up, that means their hobbies and their interests and their goals and stuff are kind of pushed to the back seat because these other people and their needs take priority. And if she doesn't do that, then she's considered a bad wife and a bad mother, neglectful. Well, few women want that title. So they're going to just push their stuff aside for a few years or maybe for the rest of their life to take care of these other people and their needs. Women subordinate themselves to their husbands and children. What does that mean? That means that they put their needs first. There's a video here on the channel called the burnt toast syndrome that goes into that in great detail. How women, the parallel that's being used is that the woman makes some toast and she makes toast for everybody and some of the toast is burnt. Well, she gives the family all the nice pieces and she eats the burnt piece. That's the analogy. When you get married, your self-esteem will often take a hit because suddenly you're not yourself anymore. As I pointed out earlier, you lose your identity. So the things that you were proud of about yourself before, the things that you did, accomplishments and all that stuff, well, suddenly you're not doing those things anymore. Those things have been removed from your life because now you're a mama and a wife. So some women, they have to regroup and restructure their life so that they feel good about what they're doing a new way. But it's hard. It's a challenge. It takes some time to get there. You no longer sail your own. You ain't the captain of your ship. Like I said earlier, that baby, that baby is running your life. The baby is running your life, your husband's life, the world. The baby is like the king of the castle. And so, and then you got a husband trying to tell you what to do. Well, my wife shouldn't dress like that. And my wife this and that and blah, blah, blah. And I don't like that kind of food. Well, why don't you make it like my mother? All that kind of stuff that women be putting up with. Like you throw that food in his face and tell him, you eat whatever you want to eat. I'm not cooking crap. You may have some expectations. Now, the expectation is good to have expectations because they should be getting met. But these are things that you should know before you ever say I do, and definitely before you walk down that aisle, and most assuredly before you start popping out babies. Your expectations should be met, but your expectations should be realistic. Sometimes women go into these things with very unrealistic, like, I don't know, soap opera kind of mentality for what a marriage and a husband's going to be like. And that's like, no, you need to regroup and rethink that. Of course, there's also the option that, the dude, he baited you in with all these promises of glory and he was one way. And that's what got you. And then as soon as he feels he got you and it's nailed down and you married, then he rips off that sheepskin and that wolf jumps out. And then you like, oh no, what's this? Who are you? Why is this happening? But it's too late. A lot of women feel like they gain a lot of weight once they get married. You know why that happens? Or even in a relationship, you know why that happens? Because you change your eating habits to eat with him. You he likes a lot of steaks and stuff, so you grilling steaks and stuff. Normally you wouldn't eat all of that. You would have like some salad with some grilled chicken breast or something in it, or some sliced eggs, whatever. You would eat soup. You eat lighter, you eat smaller quantities, and you don't eat late at night. But suddenly you try to keep up with him and you going out, and so you start putting on the pounds. And since you're so interested in dating and stuff, the time that you used to spend at the gym, well, now he wants to get together. So you drop the gym and you go hang out with him. Stuff like that happens. And so then you end up gaining weight, especially when you're a mother and you're cooking and the kids, don't want you tasting their food to make sure it's okay. And, some women finish the kids' food so they don't waste the food when the kid doesn't finish it. So they, they're eating more calories than they should. And they buy a lot of snack foods. Men like junk food. And so you buying it, and then he's sitting up there watching TV, and he holds that bag out to you, and you take some chips, and the next thing you know, you done put on 5 pounds. So that kind of stuff happens. It's like sneaky weight. In marriage, routine can be very boring. You settle into routine once you're married. Get up at 6 o'clock. You do a little exercise. You go for a walk. You walk the dog. You get showered and you change and you pack your lunch. You go to work and you do that same thing every day, 5 days a week. And then on the weekend you try to clean the house on Saturday and you know. So you have a routine. Nothing wrong with routines, but for some people they get really boring and mundane, and then they do stuff like tip out, and then it's the marriage is all over. And also worrying about people's family, your own family as well as your extended family, and money, which tends to be one of the number one reasons why couples break up, can be very stressful in a marriage. Now, I found some research here, and I put it together for what seemed to be top reasons why women leave marriages and relationships. Now, for women who are single and opted to stay single, they already know this. And so they're not trying to be putting themselves in that position. But for those of you who like to be, snacking at night, Samantha, for those of you who still have the vision of, your relationship morphing into marriage, your dating relationship, your baby daddy, whatever your situation, think about these things because these are the most common reasons why women deuce out on relationships. You feel taken for granted and you feel overly responsible. He's dumping everything on you to do. All the responsibility for the relationship, for the upkeep of the relationship is on you. So you the one flipping through Cosmos like, how to keep everything spicy and interesting. He ain't doing nothing. You suggest therapy, he don't want to go. You do all the emotional labor. Oh, are you okay? Well, what's this? And oh, let's invite your mother over. Oh, what's happening? All of those are intangible, but that stuff burdens you. And after a while, you get tired of that. It's like, when are you gonna step up and do this stuff yourself? Why do I have to do it? Why do I have to be the one to come up with all the tricks in the bedroom and stuff? What are you doing? But so many men that demand and expect that that's the woman's job. And a lot of women believe it. I'll be like, look, you got one trick, you better figure out something, come up with some new ones. Number two, you keep having the same argument over and over. Nothing ever gets settled. You never get, you ask for something, you ask for change, you ask for your needs to be met. You ask for something, it never happens. So you fight, you keep fighting with him about it and explaining it to him over and over and asking him to change over and over, asking him to stop doing that over and over, asking him to start doing that over and over, and then it never happens. So your needs aren't getting met and you don't feel respected or listened to. At some point, you know, or they say they're going to do it, and then of course they never do. But at some point, anyway, women get tired of that. She gives men, usually the women, years will go by with her trying until she finally gets fed up. And then she just like, oh, I can't do this anymore. And she leaves. And here come the dude. Oh my God, it was so sudden. I thought we were happy. And then she just suddenly just left. Clown. You didn't listen to a word she said all these years because all you thought about was yourself. Now we move to point number 3, the bedroom. But I mean, it doesn't have to be this, the bedroom. It could be, out of bed intimacy as well. There's no romance. There's no hand holding. There's no back stroking. There's no kissing. There's no, just staring into each eyes. No sitting on the laps. No cuddling on the couch. There's nothing. All of that is dried up and died down. And then sometimes, what the woman figures out finally is that he ain't hitting it. And the sheets, he ain't making it happen. He's a 30-second dude, a 2-minute man, 3 minute, whatever. And, it's just not, no. And so she just like, but while these other women are talking about how wonderful it is, and I'm not having that experience, what's going on here? And then she talks to her friends and she realizes that her dude is coming up short. And she's like, well, I don't want to live the rest of my life like this. Let me do out on this and go find me somebody who knows how to put it down and make me happy. So she does. Communication breakdown. Men do this a lot. What I said earlier, the stonewalling and all that stuff. You trying to talk to him and he don't want to talk. You have a problem that you approach him with that needs a solution so your relationship can be back on the even keel, and he shuts you down or ignores you, pushes you away. That's a danger because when a woman's not connected to her man emotionally, she gonna connect to somebody. So all you dudes who think that that's, you don't have the time to listen to what your woman's got to say and you don't have time to connect with her, Your marriage is going to be a blowing up in smoke in the short order, and it'll be your fault because you didn't listen. Number 5, when the woman just outgrown him. This happens a lot. Men tend to like things to stay the same, whereas women want to see advancement, progress, change, growth, maturation, improvements, something being enriched, bettered. Women want to see that kind of stuff. If you got a man who just want to stay the same, you want him to try for promotion. You want him to work on his body. You want to see him do something, strive, have a goal, and go to work towards it. And he don't want to do it. Either he's surely lazy or he's just okay with the status quo. But if you're a go-getter type of woman, that's not going to work for you. And you're going to outgrow him. It doesn't matter what kind of nice guy he is. You're going to end up leaving him because he's just stupid. That's how you feel. You just can't respect a man like that. If you can't respect your husband, you just boyfriend, whatever. You don't need to be with him. And then the final one is that you try so hard to, kind of get things back on an even keel, get him to step up and take responsibility, get him to do his fair share, get him to be accountable and responsible, and you are tired. You're tired of just taking care of everybody and everything by yourself. It's like the weight of the world is on your shoulders, and you realize that the only way to save yourself is to leave this man behind. Some women leave the men and the kids. They just be like, look, all y'all get out of my face. Stay here with your daddy. And y'all do whatever y'all do. So those are, and of course there's nuances under each one of these top 6 umbrellas. That's why I put a little hints underneath to kind of give you an idea of what I was thinking. But um, these, I think, the majority of relationships where women just get fed up and they just can't deal with it no more and just deuce out are covered by these 6 things. Oh, yeah. Some more statistics about remarriage. Remarriage is higher for men than women, 31.5 per 1,000 men versus 19.4 per 1,000 women. That's a big difference. Men evidently like to be married. Women, not so much, right? Remarriage rates for both genders declined since 2019, most likely due to the increased acceptance of people just living together. Here in California we have that. What is it called? Uh, Something. Anyway, they have this thing just where you domestic partnership. Domestic partnership. It's not marriage, but you live together and you get certain benefits, tax benefits, whatever here in the state. And then this is what I was talking about earlier. A 2019 Harvard University study found that men benefit most from marriage with reduced mortality rate. That means they live longer. Better heart health, less heart disease, no fewer heart attacks. Improved healing from cancer and other chronic diseases because they have somebody taking care of them and feeding them well and make sure they take their meds and exercise and all this kind of stuff. Overwhelmingly, research shows that men live longer and suffer from fewer health issues when they are married. For women, it is the opposite. Your life expectancy drops and you have more health problems. It's really interesting. Okay, so then, kids are also impacted by when you guys break up. So that's why, give some double thoughts about how your stuff is set up before you get married and start having kids or be a baby mama. 28% of children living with a divorced parent live below the poverty line. The overall national average is 19%. So 28% of kids are from divorced homes. That's not good. That means the daddies ain't paying child. Something's happening here. 27% of divorced women live below the poverty line versus 17% of divorced men. So, being married and then getting a divorce is financially devastating for women more so than men who seem to recover faster. That's another thing. So, what is it women want from a relationship that they're not getting? Why would they get a divorce? Why would they break up? And why would they decide after trial and error that they're not going to really be too bothered about, hooking up with a dude and being married and all of that? These are the kind of things that women want. They want somebody who's emotionally available. That's so hard to find. They play so many freaking games. So many freaking games. Trying to get you to, be on the hook. Do you want to be my woman? Although, they want you to be committed to them, but they're not trying to be committed back. They don't want to listen to you. They just want you to hear them. And mostly what they do in read don't be talking about nothing. It's just, they use a lot of words, but you're not really getting to know his heart and soul. That's one of the keys. The player types, they just gonna just be like a magpie, just yabber, 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 but it's not really meaningful conversation. There's no depth to it. So you have somebody, you want a good communicator, someone who's going to talk to you. This will be meaningful, And what he says he's going to do something, he does it. His actions match his words. He's honest with you. He shares his thoughts with you. He's upfront with you. When you ask a question, you get a full and complete answer, not be dodging around, playing around. And then to share similar values. This is like what I was talking about earlier. You're a go-getter. You got a dude who's a go-getter. So y'all are going to be like two racehorses versus one person being a racehorse and the other one sitting in the cart with their legs crossed, being carried through the relationship. You plan a future together and you both working toward it side by side to make that happen. You have, they're a good match physically. Similar drives and interests. Not one person into some freak stuff and I'm like, oh my God, my clutching their pearls. And then, there's mutual respect, mutual admiration. And that is very important to make a relationship satisfying for a woman. So whether she would be just dating you or decide to live with you or decide to marry you, these things are important to women. Without them, it's not going to work. So as women continue, things are slowly changing. Things are changing, but there is still a stigma attached to women, especially if you're a religious type, about you being single and not having any children. They will beat you over the head with their religious text, telling you that this is what the Almighty has deemed for women to do with their bodies and to have, and you're not really fulfilling your God-given responsibility unless you be out here breeding. Okay, that's what they push down women's throat. But this is this being child free and by choice and being single by choice is on the increase worldwide. Even in countries that are traditional, Asian countries that are traditionally, couples oriented, like South Korea, the girls are like, I don't want to be bothered with that. You got to live in your in-laws' house and become like a maid and all the stuff to the in-laws. They're not trying to do all of that. They want to spend their money on buying designer handbags and jewelry and just having a good time. In the most couples-oriented culture in the world, they're like, no. So what does that tell you? Men need to change up. If you want a wife and you want to have some woman tied to you like that, you need to give her something different than what y'all has been doing. Because the way that marriage is structured right now, nobody wants it. Even the girls that get into it be diving out of it later. But I mean, unfortunately, they wait, till they have kids and just have to get all that. That's all messy and stuff. That's why I'm really advocating that young ladies take this kind of stuff to heart and really think about what it is you want to do with your life, and is marriage going to help it happen? If marriage is not going to help it happen, then please don't get married, and definitely do not have any children. Don't mix up little kids in that mess. Don't do that to them. That's not fair. Okay, that's not right. If you don't have your shit together, don't be having no kids. That's what they have birth control for. Use it. Okay, and don't be letting people talk you out of using it. Protect yourself, protect your fertility, and protect your health. You've got to do that and protect kids from coming into situations that's just going to hurt them. You don't want to do that. And this is my final thought on this too. Is like I know they're doing that in Japan. They're like giving people who get married and have kids money. Their population is shrinking so fast that they feel like in so many decades, the Japanese culture will cease to exist if they don't do something to make the young people, inspire the young people to procreate. Thanks, giggles. And so that's what they're doing. They're offering, they set up matchmaking events. These are all sponsored by the government. matchmaking events, classes, and stuff. I mean, all kinds of stuff to try to entice young people to meet each other, date, and get married and have children. Because the young ladies are like, screw all of that noise. I'm not trying to do all that. I don't want it. So that's why I'm saying, if these countries, they're looking at the decline in women's interest in marriage, that means instead of trying to do away with abortion, so try to force women into having kids, what you need to do is go and set up classes for young men, just like you used to do with the draft. You set up mandatory relationship training courses for them. Teach them how to be a husband. Teach them how to respect women. Teach them how to be a father. Make every young man of a certain age, just like you used to do for the draft, go through this program. And it would turn the country around. They would also be more happier men because they would have wives and they would have girlfriends, and they wouldn't be so lonely and violent and all mad on the internet talking about their incels and all this kind of stuff. But this was going to require, like the government of Japan and government of Korea, some intervention. In America, they don't want to do that. They want to spend money on bombs and stupid stuff. You're not going to need to do all that if you don't have nobody here. Nobody here. Your population will shrink to nothing. And it will better you keep men out of prison. It will teach them how to act. It will give them, viable situations with families where they teach them responsibility. I don't see anything wrong with this, but I do think that the program, I mean, frats could do it too. They could set it, because they already have a worldwide infrastructure. Fraternities could do such a thing, is to teach young men how to be husbands and how to be sensible. They could do it too. But I'm thinking, the government, just like you do the draft, pull all these knuckleheads into these courses, make them take it and make them pass. If you fail, you got to take it again until you pass. The end. That's what I think. And I think that would be a good way to eliminate a lot of the angst and the problems we have with bad relationships and divorce in this country. But of course, that's just my idea. That's just my idea. So this was the previous poll results, the one that I said, that YouTube closed because I changed the show. So I'm going to go over here right now and take a peek at what um, the survey results are at this moment. And let me take a screenshot. Oh no, I can't take a screenshot. How am I going to do this? Okay, yeah, I can. I guess I can share the screen. Uh, is it this window? Nope. Hold on, you guys. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Why is it showing D and N though? But anyway, here's the survey there, what you see. Um, 74% say that they're happier single with no kids. 9% are happiest with us as a couple with no kids. 14% are happiest with children and no relationship. So no man, just the kids. And 3% said that they're happier coupled with kids. These are women's experiences. So the greatest number, overwhelming, is happiest single with no children. And that, I'm going to, on that note of ending the poll, and those results pretty much coincide with the first poll results as well. So now I would like to, I just did that, sorry. Now I would like to have an open discussion and, take your questions and open everything up to a discussion. I will give you the opportunity if you prefer to call in. You're using your headset or your phone. This is the URL to do that. I have my handy dandy microphone here, my headset, so I can hear you. That's um, that's how you get onto the show. Other than that, you can type some comments into the chat, and I'll try to catch them, and put them up on the screen. Okay, let's see what Silver Screen's got to say. You tell them I'm pregnant with twins and don't know who the daddy is, then ask her for money. You trifling. But hey, I bet it works. Okay, so what's your stories, ladies? Your situation here with, why, well, whatever you voted in the poll, did you vote for happiest with no children and being single? If so, why? I would like to hear, because, there's no space to say why in that situation, but I would like to know why you feel that way. What happened in your past that made you come to that conclusion? Oh, excuse me. So I get to drinking bubbled water. Lots of married women are. Mm-hmm. Yes, yes, they do. I have a video on here where I talk about that. It's called "The Crabs in a Barrel." It was one of the first videos I did. It's super old, and the crabs in a barrel syndrome, where women try to convince young girls to be a baby mama just because they were. Yes, you can call in. This is the number. I mean, well, the URL right there. If you want to call, because you got something to say. I would love to hear what you have to say, to tell you the truth. It's hard for me to keep up because the screen, you guys type so fast, and the screen moves so fast. It would be nice to have people do an audio response to put it on the recording. So you see, I put the URL there. You just click it. If you're on your phone or you got a headset on your computer, you just click that link and it will connect you backstage, and then I can put you on the air. That's it. It's in the chat. Okay, so that's what it's gonna. That's the number. Look for it. It's under my name. Yeah, it is becoming less taboo. I think as more and more women get on board and stop trying to shame other women for deciding to not have children, it's becoming more acceptable. Okay, so she says I've been married and a step parent, so she had a taste of the nonsense. Since being freed from such bondage, I wish to never return. Okay, that's what I'm saying. That's the attitudes a lot of women have. Happiest without kids or a relationship. I've had two healthy long-term relationships. The worst were a year or less because they were immature, stunted, or too insecure about me traveling. Mm-hmm. Yes. I voted for happiest with no children and single, as I felt so depleted after getting married and having a kid. Yep, that's what a lot of women say. It's just too much. I refuse to be a statistic. Good for you, Toffee. What's Nick got to say here? It's very, I'm enjoying perspective from women without kids. Yes, there's a lot of them out there, Nick. So it's really funny, when the dudes be complaining online, all the women got kids. I'm like, dude, where are you looking at? You must be just looking in your neighborhood, because these things tend to be kind of social. Whatever social circle you traveling in, that's what you're gonna find. Okay, so who popped up here? Okay, Venus. Venus is first, and then I'll get you next, Kaya.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, Venus, what's happening?
I just stumbled on your channel, and I was just like really taken back. Like everything you said, you hit it on a nail. I just totally agree with so many different points you made. And I could start by saying that I was single for a while, okay, for many years. And I actually enjoyed it. I finished school and everything, got a really good job and everything. And I've, been proposed to several times. And then I said, no, I wasn't interested. I just wanted to travel and do different things. And, I was having the best time of my life. And I met someone probably like 3 years ago. Now I'm married. The only thing about the situation is that within those 3 years, going on 4 years, I've advanced and I'm still continuing to try to do things to better, to get to a next level and to keep going because I'm a go getter. Unfortunately, he's not. He gained over 65 something pounds,
Get out of here.
turned into, I mean, when I met him, he was physically fit. I would say 2 years into the relationship, he got overweight after he got to America. He literally is unmotivated, wants to always be in the bed if he's not at work, or wants to be like with hanging out with his friends. And I'm just like, I just can't. This is not. So I'm to the point right now where I'm not happy.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you heard that part, but I did. I talked about that exact situation.
You
With
did. I heard you.
oh, you did hear it? Okay. Yeah, it's exactly the kind of thing I was, imagining. You got a lady who's like, she on it, she's making stuff happen, and dude is just resting in his femininity.
And I've given him so many different, I gave him contacts. He would say, "Oh, I want to start this. So I want to try this." Okay, well, here's the number for it. I got the contacts. I would get into situations and I'm like, wait a minute, he spoke about it. Let me ask this person, hey, do you know? Oh yeah, I'll give you a telephone number. Give me contacts and people's names. I will bring it back to him when I get home, like, hey, call this person. This is a contact. Didn't you say you wanted to get it? Never call,
Oh,
never pursue it, and then just stays just settle within what he's doing. And I'm like, he's like, yeah, well, you make more than me. I'm like, well, you've been given an opportunity to make more, so you can make more, but you don't want to get up. But so he prefers to, on his days off, being in the bed, on the weekends in the bed. So it's just work, and then in the bed, and then with his friends.
girl, you are killing me.
No, I'm done. I'm appalled. And my girlfriend, she's single, no kids, not married. And she's like, why did she was like, I know you. And I told you, I just sat back and I waited, but I told you, I know you. Like, and I'm like, I had to tell her, like, she's right, because I'm not happy.
Girl, well, it's been magic. That's that's my way to deuce out when I'm tired of a dude. I just tell him it's been magic.
Yeah, so I'm trying to plan my escape route. I'm working on that, but I'm definitely I feel like he's a bag of laundry, like a bag of weight on my back, holding me down. And I already
Albatross.
went to, yeah, that's what I feel, and I feel heavy, and I don't like feeling that way because, like I said, I'm motivated. I'm a go getter. I just got a new job, like what, a couple of months ago. He didn't even know about it, and it's way better than the job that I had. It's more money, of course, but I'm content. I'm happy that I made a move from what I was doing, and I'm on another level. So I'm looking at him like, what are you doing? You're just staying idle where you're at, and it's I just, yeah, I'm done.
Okay, girl. Well, good luck. I think you'll do well. I
Thank
don't have
you.
any qualms about it. I think you'll hit the ground running and just be on about your business.
Thank you.
Cheer on. I like to be somebody's fan. Okay, I'm gonna get you next, Kaya. Let me address this, and then let's see. There's Van Eli, and then Janine Wade. Okay, so ex church girl asked this question: why do you think we still have these antiquated ideas put on us as women? Because you got, okay, for Black women especially, the most religious demographic in the United States. If your head is stuck in a religious text, you're gonna be beat over the head with marriage and submission. It's just part and parcel for it's the rhetoric. That's what's gonna come with it. This country, being a Christian-based country, right? In God we trust, is putting on the money. God is Christian, so those belief systems are part of our social structure here. Even people who say that they're not religious, you still hear it. People still put some expectations on you, and I think that's what it is. I think that's what it is, and it's very, very hard, especially for people who are follow Christ and all this old stuff here, to get away from that. You have to be a super strong woman to be able to do that. You guys, when you have a question, you need to do highlight, um, do at my full name so it'll make it bright. Otherwise, I can't see it. I mean, it's the screen. I'm telling you, it's just going so fast. You need to highlight and direct the comment to me, not just first name, just as it's printed here on the screen. Okay, Kaya, what's going on?
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm fine. What's happening?
I
What
was
be
I
happening?
I was taking a nap and then I woke up and I actually scrolled through YouTube and I just saw your channel and I was like, okay, let me just look at it. Well, I just want to
Well,
say
welcome.
thank you. I just want to say I'm a single woman, childless as well. And I my experience with dating and just with men, I realized that like it changed. You know, I was in a relationship when I was younger, and the young man passed away. So as we know, you take time to heal, you take time
Hmm.
to, that grieving process. So as I'm getting older, I'm learning more about the relationships between men and women, because unfortunately, my parents didn't really give me the real guidance
Right. I hear that a
and
lot.
understanding. Yeah, and it's unfortunate, but the real guidance to understanding the dynamics of with each other, because they wasn't together. And as I'm getting older, I'm like, damn, like it do seem like women do have to sacrifice a lot to be with a man. And at some point, I went to therapy. I created hobbies for myself. I like to read. I like to go out. I like to go to the gym. I like to eat healthier. And as a men that I'm dating, it's like they don't really have any hobbies. They don't read. They don't do, it's not saying they have to do the same thing I do, but
Do
there's
something.
a level of elevation, you
Right.
know. And as a woman, it's like, dang, like if I really entertain this dude, I see how he eats, he eats poorly, he don't work out, how that's gonna fit in my life, or this person still in the same neighborhood that they've been in when they was younger and then don't want to move, still hang around the same friends that's not good for them. Like that doesn't feel good to know that, I'm not saying those are my options, but as I'm getting older, I'm learning that thing, like you really do have to be very intentional about your dating life. And
You do.
um, I never really knew that. I'm gonna be honest with you about that because I had my head in the clouds about trying to just have another relationship because the one that I lost, that I didn't have the proper training or really understood what intentionality meant. So now it's a little bit harder to really set those boundaries, set those expectations, and really stay firm to them. But
Well, there's you in the right spot because there's like so it's like about 1,500 videos, between 14 and 1,500 videos on this
yeah,
channel. So you just do a search for whatever it is that you're looking for, like say, and maybe you may start with boundaries or vetting men, something like that. Just put those words in there and all the videos with that and the keywords and title will pop up,
yeah,
and that at
yeah.
least get you a good start.
Yeah, okay. And I would like to just say even my family dynamic, all the women in my family have children but never been married. And I was like, I was trying to change that generational cycle because I saw like this is not right, this is not fair, but I'm thinking like, well, why didn't they stay with someone or why wasn't they married? Now I do have to ask those questions because maybe there's a deeper understanding behind it than I actually thought it was, just to
Yeah, I
get
mean, if there's some people are still around, just have a conversation with them. Tell them something you've been thinking about and would they be willing to talk to you about it?
correct, correct. Because I used to judge. I'm not gonna lie. I used to judge. I'm like, oh, y'all having kids and y'all not married to these men, like, and then it just creates single parent homes over and over
Right.
again. And but then it's like, okay, I'm coming from a point of not judging and really trying to see, well, what happened? Because if my grandmother didn't teach my mother, how was my mother supposed to know?
Well,
And
there
then
you
how
go.
was my mother supposed to tell me? So I get that part of it. It just sucks that I have to do so much work on my own self to figure these things out. So
I hear
it's
this a lot. Well, I'm welcome to the channel though, and I hope if you have any questions, just feel free to write survivingdating at gmail.com and just drop me a line. Let me know what's going on.
okay.
Okay,
Thank you. Thank you for
you're
having me.
welcome. Okay, Van Ely. Oh, oops. There you go. What's going on?
So I'm 31. I'm child free by choice. I've been a traveler for about 9 years now, just because I lived in Edinburgh, Scotland for 6 months during college,
Did
and
you?
then yeah, and then I ended up getting a job in Italy and moved there for 2 years, and then
So
ended up back in the
jealous.
States, and then I spent a year teaching English in Colombia and Brazil, and then also traveling around the rest of South America. And I've found, honestly, that the vast majority of men I've tried to date, they are either too immature or they're kind of dumb and they don't understand that my traveling has nothing to do with them because their whole thing is, well, you're going to leave me for some man you meet in like Mexico or something. And I'm like, so what if I do? Who cares? Like, but I've actually dated a single dad, and he was by far the worst relationship I've ever been in. I ran screaming after 6 months because he was so awful. Like, his child wasn't the problem, he was the
Because
problem.
he was a problem.
He
Well,
was awful. And he essentially wanted to turn me into his ex wife because he made his ex wife basically into his mom. Like I said, I was like 28 when I dated him, and he was about 36. And he was honestly, he behaved like a 12-year-old. And I was like, I'm done. I can't do this. 6 months and I'm done. I'm leaving. Goodbye. And then
good for you.
and then I mentioned on another comment section of yours that a friend of mine I had known for 5 years told our mutual friends that he and I had been dating. And I'm like, who who do you think you are telling people that I know that we are sleeping together? You're disgusting. I was
That is so
20,
juvenile.
I was 27 and he was 40 when he did this. And our mutual friends were like, are you actually dating him? And I'm like, oh, what? Heck no, we are not dating. And he got a mouthful from me, and that's the last I've heard from him. He was an alcoholic. He had serious mommy issues, and I'm like, you know what? No, I'm gonna go back to my traveling. I've pretty much all but just given up on dating because the men that are available are like those two guys, and I have no interest in that. I dated a lovely Italian man while I was living there and still being able to travel. Lovely guy, emotionally available, attractive. He smelled nice. He washed himself regularly. Like, he cared about people. He was very kind and loving. Loved that. And then I was in a relationship for 9 years. We had a great relationship, but he wanted to get married and have kids before we were both 25. And I said, absolutely not, because I wanted to go to college. But thankfully, he ended up leaving me for another woman, and I ended up in Scotland, so that was a win. But yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as I think Venus was, where she realized that the guys she was with were not making her happy, and they're not as motivated, and they really have nothing going for them. It's like, what do y'all do between relationships?
Yeah.
Hibernate? What are you doing? Like, they do nothing. But they're like, oh, well, you can't leave for 2 weeks. And I'm like, I'm going to visit my friends. I'll be gone for 2 weeks. Well, you can't go. Why can't I go with you? Because we're not married.
Right.
And
And you're not a barnacle. You
right.
know what I
And
mean?
I'm not your mother. Like, I'm not going to cook for you. I'm not going to clean your house. I'm not going to remind you to do all this stuff. So I just kind of realized that being having kids is not for me, and if I have to sacrifice my happiness, my life, and my hobbies to essentially inherit someone else's grown-up child, I'm fine. I'll die alone. I don't care. And
Well,
I
it sounds like you'll die with a smile on your face regardless.
honestly, and like, for the people who say, oh, well, what about when you're older? I worked in nursing home and hospice care for almost 3 years, and I can tell you, people, right now, most people's children will not take care of them when they're older.
Exactly.
They'll dump them in nursing homes and sell their house and sell their cars and try to make them sign away their wills and whatever. And I was like, nope, this is not going to be my life. And I've watched my grandmother, my aunts, my own mother sacrifice her whole life for her husband and her kids. And I was like, as much as I love and appreciate my mom and we have a great relationship, and I love my dad and we also have a great relationship, I do not want that for myself. And my mom actually supports me. My mom has two master's degrees now. She's in her early 50s. She lives the life she wanted to in her 20s and 30s, except she has money now. So it's a win. And I
Oh,
was
well,
like,
there
you know
you
what?
go.
You know what? Yeah. So being child free and being single has definitely worked out for me in ways that I never imagined it would, because I used to feel a lot of shame around being single and being child free when I was like in my early 20s, because I wasn't really sure of myself, wasn't sure of who I
Right.
was, wasn't sure of what I wanted. And because I had just gone through a massive breakup, I was like, oh my God, my whole life, I don't know what I'm going to do when I'm 30. And now that I am 30, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go back to Morocco and go do whatever I want. And I'm going to go back to Brazil and do whatever I want. And that's just how it's been for me. And I absolutely love it. So, to all my child free women and all my women who are happily single, honestly, stay that way because the statistics don't lie.
Right. Well, thank you and have fun on your next journey. Send me a
Oh, I
postcard.
I will. I'm actually going to Algeria in or excuse me, Albania in February.
Sounds good. Oh, have fun, girl. You just living your best life. You just
Oh
carry
yes, and I
on.
encourage everybody to.
Okay. Thank you for calling in.
You're welcome. Thanks, Deb.
Okay. Janine, your turn.
Am I in here? Did I unmute my mic right?
You sure did.
What's going on, Deb? This is Jim Doll. I had to change up my name for a little bit.
Oh, hey, girl.
What's
What's
going
happening?
on? What's
Oh, it's
going
good to talk
on?
to you. She one
So
of my
look,
favorite people
so
on the
look,
phone.
since cuffing season is approaching, I've had to go back and look at some of your previous videos, man, because it's just so many low level roaches out here in these streets right now.
Yes.
Uh,
That's why I know this is a good idea to do this topic, and then what we got coming up next month about toxic relationships too.
it came right on time, and I have to agree with one of the previous callers that talked about just feeling like she didn't have anything in common with a lot of these men, because that's like my biggest issue. They don't aspire to do anything or be anything. They don't pick up books. They don't read unless it's on YouTube or TikTok or Twitter. And I'm like, I'm in my 40s, so I'm like expecting you to have a little bit of something that you're working with. And they still out here smoking weed and drinking heavily and looking like they pregnant. Like I just I can't understand it. I don't really
Oh,
the
not the hard belly, girl. That big
yes.
belly. I can't take it.
I go to the gym every morning at like 5:30, 6 o'clock. You see them in there laying all over the stair stepper, barely making it, struggling on the treadmill for their little 20 minutes. And they trying to holler. I'm like, sir, I got these headphones in for a reason. I'm looking straight ahead with these headphones in because I have goals that I'm trying to meet, and I'm not in here to date anybody. But it's so
Especially
discouraging. But
somebody look like they done swallowed a whole watermelon. Get out of here.
gosh, they just it's so disappointing, and it's crazy because I'm like at a funny stage where I look younger than I am, so I attract all sorts, like
Oh, yeah.
younger guys, older guys, and no matter what, they still ain't bringing nothing to the table. Don't know how to date. You brought something up earlier. You were talking about the coffee date.
Mm-hmm.
I think the coffee date is awesome, but a lot of guys they will jump straight and go to like, oh, what you expect me to take you to a 5-star dinner or something like that, and I'm like, no, nobody ever said that. But I think that dating involves creativity. It involves creativity and the want to try to do something, and a lot of these
Right.
guys just don't have the motivation. They just
They
want it to
don't have
fall in
any
their laps.
creativity. They don't know how to date. Yet you said they don't know how to date. So yeah.
But anyways, I thank you for this topic and the one that you had last week. I've been having a really hard time staying awake, so I was like, I'm gonna stay up tonight and I'm catching this live for sure.
Oh, well, thank you. I can hear the sleepiness in your voice, but I'm glad you stayed awake too. It's good to talk to you finally.
Yeah, I can't wait. We need to have a meet and greet so I can fly out there to Cali and meet you and Diana.
Girl, that was on the deck, but then COVID hit. So that got tanked.
Yes, ma'am.
So we'll talk soon. Talk to you later.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Okay, cookie face girl. Cookie face girl. Let me add you in here. What's
Hello.
happening? Hi.
I've never been married, but I'm an aunt, so I used to do a lot of the picking up and dropping off at school and helping babysit. And it's like my sister's husband doesn't want to spend time with his own kids, so that kind of turned me off marriage altogether. And it's like as soon as he steps in the door, he's like just angry, and the kids be texting me like, "Auntie, can you spend the night? Do you want to pick us up? Do you?" want to spend time with us, or we miss you,
Oh,
and things like that. And it's like it's a lot for just me, and I only spend half the time with them, so I can't imagine being a parent 24/7.
it's exhausting. It is definitely not something to play with. But that's cute that they like their little auntie so much, though. Oh, so what are you gonna do about your future? You want to stay childless? Is that the goal?
I always say that, but it could change. I guess with the it would have to be with the right person. Like if I don't see a future with them, I'm not having kids with them.
Okay, that
And I'm
makes
kind of religious, so that plays into it a little bit. So it would have to be a serious relationship, and I'm kind of held back by religion a little bit, so that makes me kind of nervous when it comes to dating. Because a lot of guys aren't really religious, or if they are, they're kind of like throw Bibles at you, which is not really what I'm looking for.
gotcha. Okay. Well, thank you for calling in and sharing that.
Thank you.
Bye bye. See, Amina, I'll get you in a second. Lights. Oh, somebody says device is not connected. Um, Nick's, they are trying to get it in. Of course they are, but you know, the women control that. But see, I'm with you. Um, Amina, this is the one I was looking for right here. Coffee dates are a no for me. I'm not spending all that money trying to get cute for some coffee. What you spend all that money for? What you doing all that for? It's a meet and greet. You don't need to go all out trying to impress his ass. You show up with your hair in a ponytail and some lipstick and some gloss on and a little makeup and whatever you want to wear, jeans and a top. You don't have to go all out when you just meet a clown. What you doing all that for? That's too much effort. You're trying too hard for some clown you don't even know. Don't be trying to impress his ass. You just show up looking basic. And then if you like what you hear and he looks like what he said he was and he's the real deal, then y'all make a date for number two. And then you can glam up and then he'll be taking you out to dinner. But you don't put all that effort into a first meeting. That's too much. That's way too much effort and energy. So you don't want to do that. But you want, and then you know, what's in the cup? I said this before. What's in the cup is irrelevant. It could be a happy hour drink. It could be ice cream in your hand in a cup. It could be, I don't know, tea. It could be a soda pop. I don't care what it is. The concept is that you just meet with them for 30 minutes and that's it. You're not making no time commitment because that time is the one thing that you never get back. You don't want to invest hours of your time on a dust mite and money trying to look cute for a dusty. Then you're gonna be mad and broke. That doesn't make any sense to do it that way. We don't do it that way. That's not this proper dating strategy. Yeah, FaceTiming is good. That's a good way to do it. But yeah, I strongly advocate that women reconsider that if you think that you need to go on a dinner date, something fancy on your first date, you're not dating right. You get in and out. You see that clown, and then you be deuced out in 30 minutes, 40 at the most. You don't give him a whole afternoon and evening of your time. What? He hasn't earned the privilege. But let me see what we got going on. You guys, I can still take another couple of calls, but I want to show people who may have missed what we got coming up. This is a webinar, better known as a Debunar, a Debunar that we're going to do next month on Sunday, the 6th of November. It's going to be about how to stop involving yourself in toxic relationships. It will be, I'm already started working on it, and I got a lot of stuff I'm going to show you, and with stuff we're going to talk about, because to me, this is just my opinion, the majority of the relationships that women have, that women find themselves in, that are making you miserable, that are breaking your heart, that's making you depressed, anxious, cry. You're with a toxic man. You trying to make it work. You putting all this energy and effort into it, but he's toxic. There's nothing about that that's ever going to be fresh and wonderful. Never. All you doing is suffering longer and longer and more and more. So, but the problem is, just like we had the young lady who called Kia, We have so many young women who've never been educated about relationships. They've never been educated about how to vet a man. They don't, no one told them if he does this or that or says this and that to you, you don't mess with this clown. It's not a situation where you spend time trying to fix him. You deuce out on him because he's all messed up. You leave him alone. Let somebody else who got some time to waste mess with him, or just let him die alone. I mean, either way, it's might work for me, but it's not going to be you. And so that's what we are going to talk about. It's going to be a 2 hour session, might be longer, but I'll set it for 2 hours for now. The price is $20 per person. You can register at debsterism.com. And yeah, just try to do that before November, I think, November 1st, I think is when the last day to register is. But you got plenty of time, but I'm just wanting to let everybody know what's coming up and why we're going to do it. Okay. So that's what's coming up on the Debsterism channel. And you can feel free to spread the word. The information is up on debsterism.com and also on the community wall here on YouTube. So nobody else got any other questions, comments? I think this was really good. Um, that we had so many single child-free women show up and support each other, and to let you know that what you want to do with your life is the utmost importance. Don't let nobody else rain on your parade. Don't let nobody tell you that you're wrong, that you're bad, that you're selfish, that you're not listening to God's word, that you're gonna die old with cats and lonely, that you need to have kids to take care of you when you're old. That's a lie. That's a joke. I tell you, after working at APS, I learned that that is a fantasy. Them kids be dogging those parents out like 9,000. I've never seen such cruelty and abusiveness as when I was working in adult protective services. That was just a nightmare. Don't think about having kids for that person. They likely to put you out on the curb somewhere and take everything that you had and skip on down the road. They don't care about you. So this I think is very important. Women support each other. If you hear somebody saying that they don't want to have children and other people are trying to get on them, stand up for her. Should support her. You got that mentality. Even if you do want to have it, it's still her right to not. So still stand up for your sisters. I don't care what color they are. You stand up for each other and you take care of each other and you support each other. That's what it's going to take for all of us women worldwide to get through this. Because this is what's happening here in the United States is only the beginning of the hot mess. It's not. It's going to get worse. So y'all need to learn to stay together. Okay. What do we have? Our next show is going to be on Tuesday with our advice column. No, actually, that's right. I'm doing the funeral on Tuesday, so it's going to be on Wednesday. So it's going to be What the Fuck Wednesday is relationship advice column, and that's when I will see you guys next. And other than that, this was a wonderful, wonderful show. I thank everybody who called in and participated, and everyone who shared their thoughts in the chat and voted in the poll. I appreciate you. I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Enjoy the rest of your little bit you got left of your weekend. Bye bye.